Welcome back, Elon Tusk. Great having you back.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Let's get started. Do you think that this is a marketplace? Where are we going? Where are we going?
I think what we need is a universal basic income guarantee. It should be a basic income guarantee, and a large part of that would be providing that guarantee to everybody.
Well, that would be a condition of your candidacy, right? That you support a universal basic income guarantee?
Yes.
That's what I've been hearing about.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, there's the bit about the money.
Well, I don't know if that's possible or not.
I don't know.
No one's suggesting it. Nobody's forcing it on anybody.
No, I think it's inevitable.
We're going to implement it. We're going to introduce it.
Yeah.
We'll
see what happens.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And what did you tell him about the wall? I mean, you just said it's going to be like a giant welcome mat. Like, you don't have to bring your A game. You don't have to be a genius to realize you're not going to win the argument. You don't have to be a genius. You just have to be impatient.
I told you. This wall thing's not going to solve the data issue. You're going to have to solve the data issue through some other means.
And what do you mean? You're going to have to.
Other means.
Other means?
I mean, you already have the genie back in the bottle. If you wanted a baby, you wouldn't have a baby in your bottle. You would have some other way to get your kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't want to come out with you, so they lock the door behind you. But some of it's social media in particular. I don't know if it's appropriate or not in other places. But I do know that the media is very biased in favor of the status quo. That it's extremely hostile to any sort of change in the way things are, or whatnot. This is especially true when it comes to social media. Because if you look at, say, where were you when the shit hit the fan and people started talking about you?
I was in Palo Alto.
Yeah. You know? They're like the cold, hard reality.
No, I would hope that. I would hope that our delusions of grandeur are exaggerated, that we really are godsend. That we really are some kind of a community of enlightened beings, instead of this weird, cult-like, religion-based society. We're a society based on reason, and community, and love.
Yeah, I think that it's probably the case. I'm not sure how you die without those things.
Well, there's the potential for dying of exposure or of exposure due to something that we do every day, whether it's our car not stopping or our pump not working or something like that. There's always some degree of adaptation, but the adaptation will be slow and gradual. Eventually you're going to have to stop using the pump and start using oxygen tanks, because your immune system's just not that strong.
Yeah, oxygen is a weird thing. It's like if you get beat up pretty bad in a boxing match, you gotta get oxygenated up. In that case you're going to die.
Yeah, but for sure you're not going to survive another day without a pump.
I've always wondered as a lay person, what are you trying to do by engineering a submarine? And then you have this weird dream, where you can just levitate your car up into the sky and it doesn't fly. What are you trying to achieve?
Well, I think we should be concerned about anything that's a submarine thinking thing. That's a word that's often used in the submarine world. Doesn't work.
Oh, it should work?
Yes.
Then let's think about what you're trying to achieve by integrating the electronics and the sensors, and then by integrating the solar panels and the mechanical devices. And then by integrating the electronics and the electronics by the token of our own ownership. We have an artificial limb that is climbing on top of us. It's thinking very highly of its place in the universe.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a very complex system. And I think we should be concerned about anything that's a submarine thinking thing thinking very highly of its place in the universe.
Do you think that's the case? As a human being, as yourself, you're clearly concerned about what happens to you guys' lines of credit. Do you wonder?
No, I just don't buy it. It's not what it seems.
What if there's a million Elon Musks?
Well, that'd be like the heat death of the universe.
A more apocalyptic interpretation of things to come.
I mean, it's possible.
Yes.
We're going to absorb as much as possible of this weird energy as we can, if it's not fatal.
So you feel like it's inevitable, humanity will be like this gigantic ball of lava with a giant bell-shaped ring around it, and then it'll start dying. I'm on board. Fuck motors. Dude, fuck regular motors. Yes. But the fact that a simulation like this, where you'd be so radically different than what you are as a human, it's going to be so radically different from what we are? How do you make something that simple? And warm weather, right? So, in a way, our understanding of physics is expanding. Your understanding of magnetics and electromagnetism is expanding. That understanding is very helpful in diagnosing potential problems, and they can be addressed in a way that is less like a burden and more like a pleasure rather than a duty.
Yeah. I think the things that we know are useful in some way, some compassion. But when you consider that other people's idioms might be misguided in their intentions to cause injury or death, and there's even some measure of limbic resonance with some sort of ancestral spirit, these are all valuable things to learn. They're valuable. But there's something about the beauty of the crudeness of language where when it's done with sarcasm, there's some sincerity to it. There's some compassion for the people that are being blamed, and I think there's some revenge in there for the people that have been blamed. It's very honorable.
Do you think that language is really so bad that it's difficult to make sense of it?
No, I think it's just difficult to make sense of it.
Difficult? Like trying to figure out what's going on? What's going on with technology? With regulations? Rules? Limits?
Yeah, I think we really have to be nicer to people. We're more careful about where we're interacting with people than we're about what movie we're going to be.
What's that?
Yeah. It isn't exactly what we feared.
But we were told that the plan was to shoot in LA.
Pacific Heights.
Is it true that they asked us to put smoke bombs in the movie?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I'm an environmentalist.
Just think of it like that. You don't have as much of a chance of survival as you used to have.
Well, I mean, this is not like I'm saying that every case is different, but like I said, it's just like the probability of survival of an organism is much lower than the probability of an organism dying.
So the probability of an organism dying is much lower than the probability of an organism thriving.
Yes.
And that's the thing, it's like, when you think about the probability of something good, then you think, well, I'm going to have to believe this to the death.
Yeah.
So then, you think, well, this is like, the last thing I expected from a person who's been myself for the last decade.
Yeah.
Like I'm not expecting the same thing. Refuge.
Yes.
I mean, a wave is a big deal. A big deal. We're told by wise people. They think that because of our scale and our wealth, we're going to be like a million things. We're going to be like a smart person says we are. We're going to be able to predict everything. I'm talking about like the power of AI.
AI, the ability to understand concepts and make them articulate.
What is it like? You are on a computer eating your thoughts.
My goal is try to do useful things, try to maximize the probability the future's good, make the future exciting, something you look forward to. With Tesla, I try to make things that people love. How many things can you buy that you really love? That really give you joy? It's so rare, so rare. I wish there were more things. That's what we try to do, just make things that somebody loves.
Is the thought of it's not a good idea to I mean, you can't just drive a Model X for sure. You'll have to wait and see. But, so is the car market. It's very difficult to sustain a car company. It's very difficult to have a profitable year. That's the tricky thing about a car, is it's going to be able to push people to buy a car, and car sales are going to be super high. So it's going to be this overwhelming temptation for some people. Like, if you're a Tesla fan, you should be super happy because then you can buy a Model X and get a free Model X body car, which is going to be the most fun you've had in a long time.
Yeah, it's just a long time. So, it's like, well, fuck the stock market for sure.
Sure. Well, thanks again for your time. Until next time.
Thank you.